That's not true, he replied. It is, she said. The person I knew wouldn't do what you did. Silence. I said I was sorry, he added, and I heard you. Then why? Because sorry doesn't erase what happened. Her voice wasn't angry anymore, and somehow that made it worse. I moved on, she said. You should too. Something in his expression changed, not dramatically, but enough. I can't. Her eyes flickered. Just lightly. Not when you're here again, he continued. Not when I finally have a chance to fix it. Vine shook her head. Some things don't get fixed. Then let me try. She stepped back. No. Firm, clear, final. I didn't come here to revisit the past, she said. I came here to work. And I'm your boss, she replied quietly. So you don't get to avoid me forever. Something shifted in her gaze. Not fear, not hesitation, something stronger. Watch me. And with that, she walked past him again. Jungkook stood there still because this time he understood something clearly. This wouldn't be easy, not like before. If he wanted anything from her, anything at all, he would have to earn it. Meanwhile, went back to her desk, her heart racing again. But this time there was something else mixed in, not just anger, not just hurt, something unfamiliar, something unresolved. She sat down, staring at her screen, but not really seeing it. Why does it still feel like this? She whispered, because no matter how much she tried, a part of her still remembered him, and now distance wasn't distance anymore, because they were no longer two people in different worlds. They were here in the same place every day, and sooner or later something was going to break. Something had changed. Vi noticed it before she fully understood it. It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but it was there in the way Jungkook no longer tried to corner her into conversations, in the way he stopped calling her into his office without reason, in the way he kept his distance even when he clearly didn't want to. At first, she thought this would make things easier, and in some ways it did. There were no sudden confrontations, no emotional pressure, no forced interactions, but strangely that silence began to feel heavier than everything before it, because now there was nothing to push against, no anger to hold on to, no argument to justify her distance, just him existing, changing. Weeks passed like this, routine settled in again, work became familiar, deadlines, meeting, presentations, it all blended into something steady, something normal. And Jungkook stayed consistent. He treated her like every other employee, no favoritism, no unnecessary attention, no attempt to reopen the past, but he never ignored it, her either. When she spoke in meetings, he listened fully, not interrupting, not correcting unless necessary, not dismissing when others questioned, he just answered. He didn't step in immediately. He let her handle it, let her prove herself, trusted her, and when she did, when she held her ground, explained her logic, stood confident, he acknowledged it. Not emotionally but professionally. Good work, he would say, or simply nod. It was subtle but it mattered, because this version of him was different, and that confused her more than anything else. One afternoon, she found herself staring at the screen again, her thoughts drifting despite her attempt to stay focused. Something's going on, he said. She blinked. Her colleagues leaned slightly toward her, lowering their voice just enough to sound casual. What? You and the CEO? Vine stiffened. There is nothing going on. Really? They raised an eyebrow because the way he looks at you. He looks at everyone the same. She interrupted quickly, but even as she said that, she knew it wasn't entirely true. Because she had seen it. The way his eyes lingered for just a second longer, the way his attention sharpened when she spoke, the way he seemed aware of her presence always, but he never crossed the line. Not anymore, and that made things harder because she couldn't hate him the same way, and that scared her. The breaking point came unexpectedly, a major client meeting important enough to have the entire team on edge. Weeks of preparation had gone into it, data analysis, presentation, strategy planning, everything had to be perfect. Vine had worked harder than usual, late nights, double checking everything, refining every detail because this mattered. The conference room felt tense, professional, focused. The clients sat across the table, their expression unreadable. Jungkook sat at the head, composed as always. Vine slid slightly to the side, her laptop open, her notes ready. The presentation began smoothly. Everything went according to plan. Slides, transition points where explained data was presented clearly until this doesn't align. The words cut through the room. Wine froze slightly. The client leaned forward, their tone sharper now. The numbers here don't match what were previously shown. A buzz, a shift, all eyes turned toward her. Her heart dropped. No, that's not. She quickly pulled up the file, scanning through them. There it was, a discrepancy. Her mind raced. This wasn't her idea. That wasn't she had submitted. But right now, that didn't matter because the room had already decided where to look. Pressure built instantly, heavy, unforgiving. I believe there's been a miscommunication, she said, trying to stay composed, but the client expression didn't soften. This affects the entire proposal, they said. How do you plan to address that? Silence. For a second, everything felt like it was slipping. Let me clarify. Jungkook's voice, calm, steady, control. He didn't move in front of her, didn't take over. He stepped beside her, subtle but intentional. There was an error during data gone smoothly. That responsibility falls on us. Vine looked at him because that wasn't true. He knew it, she knew it, but he didn't correct her, didn't expose her, didn't let her stand alone. We will correct it immediately and provide updated figures by tomorrow. He added. The tension in the room shifted slightly. The client leaned back, considering. Make sure it doesn't happen again. It won't, Jungkook replied. The meeting continued, stabilized, recovered, but Vine was still processing. After the meeting ended, the room slowly emptied. She stayed back, so she said quietly. Jungkook turned toward her. That wasn't my mistake, I know. Then why did you? Because it doesn't matter whose mistake it was in that moment. She frowned slightly. It mattered to me. It mattered to the client more. He said, and right now what they needed was reassurance, not internal blame. She paused. That made sense, but still, you covered for me. He shook his head. No, a small buzz. I stood with you. That held differently. Because it wasn't about saving her, it was about not letting her face it alone. That night she couldn't stop thinking about it. Not the mistake, not the meeting him. The way he handled it, the way he didn't bring up the past, didn't use it against her, didn't make her feel small. Jess showed up the right way. A few days later, she found him on the terrace. The city stretched out below, lights flickering to life as evening settled in. He stood near the edge, hands in the pocket, lost in thought. I thought CEOs don't get breaks. He turned slightly surprised. A small smile appeared. I make exceptions. She stepped closer, not too close, not distant either, just somewhere in between. I have been thinking, she said. He didn't interrupt, didn't rush her, just listen. We didn't end things properly, she continued. His expression softened. No, he said, we didn't. And I don't like unfinished things. A quiet breath escaped him. Me neither. She looked at him, really looked at him. You hurt me, she said. I know, and I won't forget that. I don't expect you to, a buzz. But, she added, that one word changed everything. I can't say you have changed. He didn't respond immediately because this mattered, and I don't hate you anymore. Silence, but not heavy, open, honest. So, what does it mean? He asked quietly. Vine took a slow breath. It means if you want something now. She hesitated. It won't be easy. A small smile formed on his lips. I don't want easy. She nodded slightly. Good. And Vine, she looked at him. I still like you. No hesitation. No games, just truth. Her heart reacted again, but this time she didn't fight it, I know. She said softly, and you? He asked, not demanding, just hoping. She held his gaze, then smiled faintly. Take me on a proper date first. For a second, he just stared, processing, then a quiet laugh escaped him. Deal. A week later, he kept his promise. No grand gestures, no unnecessary show, just a simple, thoughtful evening. A quiet place, soft lights, easy conversation. No past, no pressure, just them, and somewhere between laughter and silence, between comfort and familiarity, something real began again. Not the same as before, stronger because this time it wasn't built on assumptions. It was built on understanding, on respect, on choosing each other the right way. Months later, you're smiling at your phone again. While looked up slightly embarrassed. I'm not. Are you? She rolled her eyes. But the smile stayed because across the room Jungkook stood pretending not to look at her and failing. Some stories don't begin perfectly. Some break before they even start. But sometimes if both people grow, if both learn, if both try again, they don't go back to where they were. They become something better. The message came at exactly 6:12 p.m. Vine stared at her phone longer than necessary, her thumb hovering over the screen, even though she had already read it twice. I will pick you up at 7. Simple, straightforward, very him. But for some reason, her heart was anything but calm. She stood in front of her wardrobe, staring at the clothes like they had suddenly become unfamiliar. This is ridiculous, she muttered under her breath. It was just a date, just dinner, just she stopped herself. No, it wasn't just anything. This was him after years, after everything, after all the pain, distance, growth, and unspoken feelings. This wasn't just a date. This was something more. Her fingers brushed over the soft dress before pulling it out. Simple, elegant, not too much, not too little, perfect balance. Like how she wanted to feel. As she got ready, her thoughts refused to stay quiet. Memories slipped in the library, the silence, the slop, the years apart, and then him again, standing in front of her at the office, looking at her like nothing had ever truly entered. Her reflection stared back at her once she was done. She looked different, not because of the dress, but because of everything she had become stronger, more certain, but still the same girl who once fell for him. The doorbell rang right on time, her heart skipped. Just once, but enough to make her pause before walking toward the door. When she opened it, there it was. Django stood there, one hand casually in his pocket, the other holding his car keys. He looked composed as always, but his eyes softened the moment they landed on her, and for a second neither of them spoke because sometimes words aren't the first thing that comes. You look, he started, then paused, a small smile forming. Beautiful. Her breath caught slightly. Thank you, she replied softly. And you, she added, her eyes briefly scanning him. You clean up well. A quiet laugh escaped him. I will take that. There was a brief moment of silence, not awkward, just real. Ready? He asked. She nodded, and just like that, they stepped out together. The drive was quiet at first, soft music played in the background, filling the space just enough to keep it feeling empty. Vine sat by the window watching the city lights blur past, her thoughts drifting. You're quiet, Jungkook said after a while. She glanced at him briefly. So are you. Fair, he admitted. A small smile tugged at her lips. It just feels. She hesitated. Different? He nodded. Yeah, because it was. Not like before. Not like those unspoken feelings in the college. Not like tension at office. This was something new, something honest. I was nervous, he admitted suddenly. She turned to him, surprised. You? He glanced at her for a second, a faint smile on his lips. Yeah, you. That made her heart soften slightly. I thought you would cancel, he added, almost there. That made him look at her again. Why didn't you? She looked at her again, her voice quieter now because I didn't want to run anymore. Silence this time. It felt closer. The place he took her to wasn't extravagant, not overly luxurious, not overwhelming. It was quiet, warm, soft light, gentle music, a view of the city from above. Wow, she whispered. Jungkook watched her reaction carefully. Too much? She shook her head. No, it's perfect. And she meant it because it wasn't about the place, it was about the feeling. They sat across from each other, the soft glow of the lights reflecting in their eyes. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Not as strangers, not as people with a broken past, but as two people who had found their way back. I have thought about this moment a lot, Jungkook said quietly. She didn't interrupt. About what I would said as if I ever got chance again, he continued, and he let out a small breath. I realized no words would ever be enough. Her heart tightened slightly. Because what I did, he added, it wasn't something small. She looked at him. I hurt you, he said in a way I didn't understand back then. And now, she asked softly, now I do. Silence. I hated myself for it. He continued, not immediately at first. I tried to justify it. Told myself it wasn't that serious. He just let out a quiet bitter laugh. But then I saw your face that day. Her breath caught slightly and I realized he said, his voice softened now. I didn't just mess up. I lost something I didn't even how to value properly. Her fingers tightened slightly around her glass. I looked for you, you know. That made her look up. What? After you left, he said, I tried to find out where you went, what you were doing. Her heart skipped, but you were gone, he added, and I didn't have the right to chase you. She swallowed. I thought about you too, she admitted quietly. His eyes softened instantly. Yeah? She nodded. At first, I was just angry, she said, then hurt. Then I just missed you. Those words lingered between them. I hated it, she added with a small sad smile, because I didn't want to miss someone who hurt me like that. Jungkook didn't look away. I missed you every day, he said, her breath still, not in a dramatic way, he added, not all the time, but in small moments. He leaned back slightly, his gaze distant for a second. When something reminded me of you, when I saw someone laugh like you, when I passed places that felt familiar, he looked at her. You never really left. Her eyes softened. Neither did you. She whispered, silence, but this time it wasn't just heavy, it was full. After dinner, they walked outside. The night air was cool, the city quieter now. They walked side by side, not touching but close enough to feel it. You have changed, she said softly. So have you, she smiled faintly. But you changed in a good way, she added. She glanced at her. I had to, for me, for myself first, he said honestly, but also because I knew if I ever saw you again, I couldn't be the same person. Her heart tightened slightly. I didn't want to lose you twice. They stopped walking. The city lights stretched around them, but in that moment it felt like it was just two of them. I'm still scared, she admitted. Of what? Of getting hurt again. He nodded. That's fair, a pause. But I won't hurt you like that again, he said. She looked at him. Not because I'm saying it, he added, but because I have learned what it costs. Her chest felt tight again, but not in pain, in something softer. I believe you, she said quietly. That alone was everything, a small step closer than another until there was no distance left. You have no idea how much I have wanted to hear that, he whispered, her heart raced. You are not making this easy, she said softly. I told you, he smiled faintly. I don't want it easy. She let out a small breath, then very gently she reached for his hand. Their fingers intertwined naturally like they had always belonged there. I like you, she said, he said softly. But this time, she added, her voice quieted. I'm not hiding it. Something in his expression shifted. Because this was real. I like you too, he said. She smiled. No games and pranks? She asked. Never again. And then there was a pause. Not awkward, not uncertain, just full. He lifted his hand slightly, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. Slow, careful, as if asking without words. She didn't pull away. Her breath slowed, her eyes met his, and in that moment everything they had been through, all the distance, the pain, the waiting, faded into something quiet, something uncertain. Can I? He asked softly. She didn't answer with words. She stepped closer, and that was enough. His hand moved gently to her cheek, warm and steady, and then he kissed her. Soft, slow, careful, not rushed, not desperate, just right. Her fingers tightened slightly against his hand, her heart racing but not in fear, in something she had been missing for a long time. When they finally pulled away, neither of them moved, foreheads almost touching, breath still uneven. "By the way," he whispered. She smiled softly. "More than you know. Some stories don't end with grand declarations, some don't need perfect beginnings, because sometimes all it takes is two people finding their way back and choosing each other the right way."